Hello, everybody. I am Carlos Production. You are now listening to the interviews, bring you insight into today's world. I'm sitting here with
Jay Bustillo
and
Cody Visions.
well, welcome everybody. Thank you for listening. This is one of our special episodes where we do things that are happening on the world. And today's focus is going to be Roe versus Wade,
the overturning
of Roe versus Wade. And we have some historical facts we're going to present. We have some opinions we're going to give to you guys, and let's get to it. So I got this information from the Organization of American Historians. We're going to do a quick overview of the past couple years of how abortion has played a role in American society. So before the 1840s, according to the Organization of American Historians, abortion was widespread, largely stigma-free experience for American women. During that period, the American legal system used the quickening doctrine from British common law to decide the legality of abortion. Quickening occurred when the pregnant woman could feel the fetus move, typically between the 4th and 6th month of pregnancy. This was the only way to determining the potential of life. Women would use like herbal means of aborting, and that was just how it was done. You knew you had a baby when you felt the kick, and women were free to decide if they wanted to abort through herbal because that was the only medicine available at the time.
So what that means in simple terms, back in the day, the way abortion was done, if they felt the baby, they would eat a couple plants in a certain order, and then the baby would die.
And yes, and that was the means of doing it. And this was just
that was just common practice.
There was no set
then.
way of doing it, but it was just common medicine that people just know about and had a way to do with things. We're gonna move on to the mid 19th century. The first right to life movement was not led by it was led by grassroots activists, but rather by physicians and ancients, and they were more concerned about their professional status. Physicians were competing against these people that were doing the natural way, the way they wanted to do it, and they basically wanted to bring their medicine into the role of women and how their babies are born. And one of the reasons I feel like this whole thing started was physicians were competing against these people doing the herbal, the natural way of doing things. Not the natural way, but their way of doing things.
It was just about money.
And then just moving it into a more business side of things.
Yeah. So in simple terms, most people might think that it was Christians that were... No. We're not even up to that part. We're not even up to that part yet. We're talking about the legality of it, right?
We're working the roots of how abortion became, how this debate become to be.
Yes.
And the legality of it.
Okay.
But just remember, before physicians were a thing, they were unregulated. They were like any other practice that just starts out of nowhere and just eventually creates and cements its roots in America or any other culture. There was no regulating these physicians, and they were actually just business competing with each other.
I felt like that would have been the best way to keep it.
A variety of other healers also competed with these physicians. And in the 1900s, every state had their own individual way of deciding the legality of abortion. Mm-hmm. But most of them said, you know what, abortion should be illegal. And for the women, if they were found out to have aborted, there was some consequences to them. It was nothing to the extreme.
Probably like a fine or something.
Yeah, but there was legal consequence against the women if they did abort and people did find out. But women have been aborting. That just means that women have been aborting for a long time. Mm-hmm. And
abortion is not new.
It's not a new thing. It has been happening for a couple of years, and that's
probably a couple thousand, honestly.
Yeah.
So basically, back in the day, people used to eat certain plants to kill the baby, and then it came to a point where people stopped eating plants and they started going to doctors. Mm-hmm. Doctors came into the mix and they started making regulations and rules for how abortions should happen. And then after that, all these laws started coming into play saying, should abortion really be allowed to happen?
Yeah, more like physicians were more like, they were like, we're pro-abortion. We want to do business. Mm-hmm. But it shouldn't be not done with the herbs. It should be done in a more scientific manner where we know what we're doing, and you guys are just basing it off what you think is happening.
And I feel like that's where they messed up because they're trying to close off the open market. Because if you had the herbalists and the physicians competing, we would truly see which is the best.
Yeah, because now I don't know if no one's ever gone a herbal way of doing these type of things. They just
And you know what? There's people nowadays that are trying to promote that again. There's a certain way of a lot of herbs can help us medicinally, but now we think of them crazy because we were programmed to think, oh, medicine's the only way. My doctor only said this.
See, that's the thing about living in today's time, right? You're never gonna be told to eat these plants and to do this way. They just tell you to pop a whole bunch of pills or go to a doctor because it's a controlled industry. You're right. It's closed.
Look, the way information is presented to us is crucial. So that's why even this information is sort of brand new to me. about how things used to be done. And when I do research on things, it's like I look pro-abortion and anti-abortion articles and just formulate my own idea.
That's the best way to do it.
It's not about what I believe, it's about the information that I'm collecting.
That's the best way to discern things, because you're seeing both points of view, so you could decide for yourself which one makes the most sense.
Yes. And between 1900s and 1965, because the states did what they were doing, where they were regulating abortion by their own way, which is what we're back to right now, honestly. The police courts and lawmakers prosecuted abortionists and harassed women who procured the procedure. But in the 1960s, some Americans began to demand change from their states. In 1959, the American Law Institute, a group of professionals that put together a model of legislation, advocated for the liberalization of abortion law. They suggested that the law should make exception for women who were raped and whose fetuses were deformed and whose mental or physical health was at stake.
And you know what? I wrote down that I could understand that.
I understand that.
I could understand that, because if imagine a woman is having a baby and they tell her, "Oh, your baby's gonna come out blind and deaf and just all types of messed up." Even though I don't agree with abortion, I understand that, because it's like, that's just bringing a child to pure suffering at that point.
And for me,
I understand and I agree with that.
For me, it's like this cannot be black and white. It's not as simple as there's no abortion and there is abortion.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a middle ground,
Yeah.
And in the case where like the woman was raped, they didn't conceive this baby by their own, like, oh, I want to have this baby. Because if you think about it, if you want to have a baby, you're not even thinking about abortion. You want to have the baby. You conceived it at your own will, and you're willing to have it.
Yeah.
So I can understand why in this in the 1900s and 1965, the states were like, no, abortion is illegal. But then some people started advocating, oh no, it should be legal in certain situations, which is rape and.
And you know what? When you look at it like that, right? Think about how there are some circumstances where somebody gets into a coma and they're a vegetable, right? And then you have the choice to either unplug it or to keep it plugged in. You don't really ask the moral question: is it wrong to pull the plug?
Is it murder?
They're a vegetable.
Yeah,
they're like fried. They can't. It's no way to continue on successfully like that. So if you were to pull the plug, it's understandable.
You're right. See, what's wrong? Like reading this, you're probably gonna get to it later. But
yes.
I came across a line where it says they were trying to approach it with a one-size-fits-all approach, and that's the problem with a lot of things in society nowadays. One size does not.
Yeah, one size does not fit all, and it cannot be black and white. It cannot just be as saying, okay, everybody is illegal to have abortion, or it is illegal to have abortion.
Because there are some situations where it's like, if you keep this baby, it just might kill this woman.
Yes. Right. And let's move on. Into the 1960s, the feminist movement began to argue that women cannot be called U.S. citizens unless they could control the reproduction system. So the feminist movement, they were advocating for human rights, and they were basically saying, listen, if we're not allowed to abort, we're not citizens. And that was like their way of saying, for me, that wasn't really like, I don't think that's as impactful.
I think that's bullshit.
But I feel like when they were doing that, they were going for the government, where the government needs its citizens. Mm-hmm. You need that tax money coming in. You need a lot of stuff from your citizens.
But to say we're not citizens if we can't, that's a little drastic.
That's a little drastic.
Well, that's a little tactic.
It's like tactic, but drastic.
Like you said, it's a drastic tactic, but it worked.
It did.
And yeah. And then in the 1970s and early 1980s, that's when religion got involved into the whole abortion. As you may know from the previous podcast, I am not super religious, but I know how most religious people feel about abortion, in the way they talk about God and the way the church, and the way they read the Bible.
Yes,
they're mostly against abortion because the Bible says so, and because they're strict followers of their religion. And there are religious people that are like, okay, I'm pro-abortion. It's it's like I said, it's not black and white. People feel different ways, but majority, I would say, of religious people that follow strictly God and word by word by the Bible are like, no, we can't have abortion happening.
In that case, the mind frame is murder is wrong, and I think we all can agree with that. But yeah, not everything is as black and white, because there are circumstances where murder. And you can see it in the Bible sometimes too. Murder has been necessary. You got to take somebody out for the greater good. So
it's really all about your perception towards it. That's why it cannot be black and white.
Yeah. So to say murder, I mean, like murder of the.
Like, for example, look at this. I murder you right now.
That's
for
wrong.
no reason.
Yeah.
That's wrong. I murder you because you're about to kill him and somebody else over there.
It's understandable. So by that principle, murder of the innocent is wrong.
Yes, in that case. And now that you said that, I know you're about to say, "Oh, that ties into abortion because, the kid is innocent." When that's where I say, well, isn't it the parent's choice?
Okay.
If the parent knows that
hold on. I want to get there. I'm sorry.
I
just want to get through these facts.
We gotta get through the facts because you can't just blindly start arguing without having.
Let's just run through this.
Right.
You cannot be arguing about something when you don't know the history.
Let's just run through this and then I'll cook him.
Right.
Okay.
I'm just playing with you.
Okay. So, and then so the church started getting involved. So the question for this. The church became attacking these people because they were like, no. First, the church was with the government. The government said abortion should be illegal. The church was, yeah, we're pro that. We're not even making a noise because
Really, they were for it.
They were, yeah.
Wow.
Like the church is like, no.
The early church, right?
Just religion in general. I'm saying the church, just religion in general.
Gotcha.
They were like, yes, abortion should be legal, and they're not making a fuss because you don't make a fuss until it starts impacting your beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
So then when these people started saying, no, abortion should be legal in certain situations, that's when the church started like, wait, what? You said abortion, murder should be. And that's when it started ringing bells.
Okay.
And the church obviously wanted to change that. But it's against the U.S. Constitution to enforce your religion upon others.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the best method of forcing your religion on others without making it look like you're forcing religions? You just change the idea of it. Instead of calling it anything tied to the church, you say pro-life.
You rebrand it.
And that's exactly what I feel like the church did. But just calling it the pro-life movement. That sounds nicer. I'm pro-life,
Like,
but
I am for...
You're right. You're absolutely right.
It sounds nicer. You're like,
right.
I'm definitely pro-life.
Because instead of saying...
I'm anti,
I'm anti-abortion, I am pro-life.
Yeah.
Instead of saying I'm anti-abortion because God is against abortion, say I am pro-life because life is valuable.
Yes. It sounds better. It sounds neater.
Yeah.
It's more
And
presentable.
now it doesn't. It seems separated from religion.
It seems separated. So I feel like that's what church did, and a lot of religious groups did when they joined this movement, and they're like, no, we're pro-life.
Pretty smart move.
And you know what? When I was first learning about this, like a couple years ago when I was younger, I was like, I was pro-life. Apparently. Yeah. Because it sounded good, and it's like I wanted to move towards good. But then I started learning what does pro-life mean to these people, and that's when I started changing my ideas. And that was the Catholics.
And then the evangelicals joined them, and then the Protestants. Everybody came.
And then
on
in
board.
the 10 years later, 1970s, the evangelicals, Christians started to join them, and they joined them because they didn't have anything. They didn't have a side. A lot of these evangelical Christians, they wanted to join this movement, but they didn't have their own ideas, and they just joined whatever was available, the pro-life. And some others just created radical groups themselves and just called it something different.
You know what? I just had this thought. I know we haven't finished doing the facts, but because I'm not pro-abortion, right, at all. But think about Osama bin Laden. We murdered Osama bin Laden, and we said it was for the greater good. And the greater good in this case is to prevent suffering, unnecessary suffering. It's to prevent suffering of others. And so in this case, going back to that point of aborting babies that are going to come out deformed or rape babies and things like that, you could still put that same logic and say, I am doing this to prevent suffering.
I agree.
I don't agree with abortion all the way, but in that instance, again, the deformed baby and all that, I could understand that.
I could understand that logic too.
I got a question for you though.
Let's hear it.
If you was in that situation, doctor told you, your kid gonna come out like a vegetable. What are you doing?
Well, he's a vegetable, bro. He's basically dead. He's brain dead.
So are you gonna abort him or not? If you had the decision to make.
Because you say you're.
All right, deep down, real talk, I know I'm gonna want to. I would talk with my parents about it first, and I would have a whole bunch of conversations with people. But I know deep down, I wouldn't want that, because like, bro, a vegetable kid is like.
But you know what? So you will have consultation, right? You will like talk to people. You go to your parents. So some people don't have parents. Some people don't have no one to talk to. And we have these clinics where we get able to go express our emotions, and it's private. But what Roe versus Wade is doing, turning that, is okay. We're gonna have to. Abortion is illegal. We need to close down these clinics. So now you don't have a safe space to talk about this. You can't even have the consideration. You don't have choice. You understand me? And like, that's in a way taking away your rights, freedom of choice. Let's move on to 1973. This is where we're catching up.
Roe versus Wade.
This is the big debate, Roe versus Wade. So
can I sum it up? I feel like I could sum it up faster.
you know what? I want to do it. Yeah, I think it needs to be read out because it just has to be precise.
All right, let me read it.
It's this is actually summarized already.
You already read the whole thing. I got you. All right, so Roe versus Wade in 1970s, Jane Roe, it's not her real name. It was just the name created to protect her identity. She filed the lawsuit against Henry Wade, District Attorney of Dallas County, Texas. So this is a woman versus Texas, and she was challenging Texas because Texas had made a law that said abortion is illegal except by a doctor's order to save her life. So in a few words, in Texas during the 70s, the only way you could get an abortion is if giving birth to that baby was going to kill you. If the birth was not going to kill you, cannot get an abortion. So she was like, that's wrong. I'm going to sue them. And then that eventually came all the way to the Supreme Court.
And remember, these are the same doctors that were fighting to get rid of a natural means of abortion. So you're going to be consulting with a doctor that is not in your best interest to let you know if you can have an abortion.
I feel like the best way to get the consultations would be to go to doctors on both sides that are pro and against.
It's more about,
if you're using that logic.
Using the logic, you can shop around for, doctors, but that's not the case. You don't want to be shopping around.
It's not shopping around. It's not shopping around. You're simply getting understanding of how most people in the same field
think. But the only doctors they were allowed to go to
were physicians, doctors.
Physicians.
Well, that's fucked up. That's fucked up.
So, these physicians are fighting for their position and their professionalism. They were trying to be like, okay, you're professional. Because the only way you become professional is when people just acknowledge that you're a professional. In a way, putting it down. And they were fighting for that position of being called professionals. And once they get into the situation, the state of Texas decides, okay, the only way for you to get an abortion is to go to these now pronounced professionals.
Well, you see, now they're giving her the illusion that she's choosing because they're just giving her the options to choose from.
Yes.
Okay, so eventually she takes the case to the Supreme Court. And her argument is that to deny her the right to abortion is to deny her right to privacy, which is in the Constitution, due process, 14th Amendment. Justice Harry Blackmun delivered the opinion 7-2.
So look at 7-2 in terms of the Supreme Court. That is a landslide for someone to
7-2 is
for
crazy.
7 people in a room of 9 people, to 7 of them agree. It's a landslide victory. You rarely see that in the Supreme Court. There's usually just one person that makes the final decision.
So basically what happened here was she won. She won. Okay, so she took it to the Supreme Court. She said, you guys are violating my privacy by denying me my choice to get an abortion. And then in a room full of 9 people, 7 of them said, you're right. And so the result was abortion was now deemed as a national right to all women nationally as a country.
Yes, and the states went up to the side. And a little bit understanding of how the justice system works is you have to go through courts. To get to the Supreme Court, you don't just go directly shoot up and
it's small court, and then if they can't figure it out, it just goes up.
Yeah,
and up
so
and
you
up.
can appeal upwards, and you only take it to the Supreme Court if it's a constitutional
something big.
Yeah, something big. So you're not, the first court deals with you, and if you feel like they're wrong, you can appeal to the next court until you get to the Supreme Court. So it does take time to get
that's
up
if
there.
they accept it. That's if they're like, you know what, you're right. We'll take on that case.
And if they deem that this could be a constitutional issue, they will look at it. And by that time they're done, probably you already have the baby. This only happens in 9 months.
Yeah, it's years in the making.
Yeah. So the Supreme Court process is long, and it has taken 50 years of review. This happened in 1973. We're in 2022.
Yes.
So it changed. It's always happening.
Okay, so let's.
That just puts in perspective how much the world has changed in just the last 50, 60, 70 years.
I think we summed that up well. Let's come to the present now. Present day, 2022.
Taking it back to recent history, May 3rd, the Supreme Court was talking about, should we legalize abortion? Should we abolish it?
This is recently, right?
This was, recent. So they were talking about behind closed doors because we can't know what the Supreme Court is talking about.
They're looking at the case again.
They're looking at the case. No one knows they're looking at the case. And then someone in the Supreme Court rings the bell. You're like, yo, they're talking about Roe versus Wade. This is impactful. This could really impact the nation.
They're evaluating whether or not the result was actually the best result.
And like, no, this person that was in there, it might not have been a Supreme Court justice. It could have. Who knows?
Could have been the janitor.
Yeah, it could have been the janitor that just heard the conversation. But this is like national news. It has to. The people need to know this is happening, and it's, like, we're not supposed to know, but it is impacting our society. So May 3rd, this person rings the bell. He's a whistleblower. He tells, oh, they're debating Roe versus Wade, and it looks like on this draft paper that they have, it looks like they're trying to overturn it. Everybody goes nuts. Yo, what is happening? I remember doing this on the radio, and I talked about it a little bit. And that was May 3rd. We are literally on the, 26th, 27th? 3 days ago, we get the final word. The U.S. Supreme Court has decided to overturn Roe versus Wade. Everybody goes nuts.
That basically means that abortion is not a national right. It is not a God-given right.
It is
provided by the Constitution.
It is giving up to the states. And how it's looking right now, out of the states that we have, 22 of them are looking to make abortion illegal.
Mm-hmm.
So New York, we're not really affected by it.
Yeah, New York is mostly blue.
But giving it to states, just because we're blue, it means it could in the future overturn. This is about politics and politicians at this point. Because just because we're safe now doesn't mean we're safe in the long run. The only way we could feel safe is if it's nationally mandated.
Right, because that possibility is now open.
Yes, that possibility. Just because we're now, it doesn't mean it can't change. Just like the Supreme Court changed it.
Yes.
Now, to the present, we caught up with a little bit of history. We're not gonna give you all the history. We don't have time for
That's basically the essentials of it.
You get a gist of how everything was done, how it's come to be to this point. So, first question. Where do you stand in abortion?
Well, after having that whole conversation, prior to this, I was thinking abortion is wrong and I still do agree it's wrong. But when you put it under the circumstances of the baby's going to come out deformed, it might kill the woman, all this other stuff, I think that in some circumstances it is reasonable.
Yes.
In some, not most, right? Because I'll touch on that later. But what about you?
What about you, Cody? How do you feel about abortion?
Me personally, like my personal opinion, I feel like abortion should be up to, number one, the female. Obviously, it's her body. She could do what the hell she wants. And then, if she wants another person just to help her decide, then whoever's the father too, those two decide. I feel like it's up to those two because they're the ones that are responsible for this person once they are in this life. And if they feel like they cannot put this person in the best possible position, to have a good life and whatnot, or it might come out deformed or whatnot, you just don't want to put the child in this position. I think it's okay to abort. Like, that's just me. Like, it's your kid. You do what you want to do. If you feel like
not the
putting
first
this kid,
that last part,
putting this kid in the position that you are right now, having him and where your life is right now, if you feel like you can't handle it, do what you got to do, because then what you're risking you're risking two things. Either you raise the next Kanye West and he changes the world, or you just raise another statistic and your bloodline is.
So how I feel about this is the choice most definitely must go to the woman. Their needs, however, for me, I feel like I don't have a kid. I can't. You're basing mine from of what I feel, and the woman has to say and the dad has to say, because it takes two to make one. If it's a situation where she was raped and obviously she gets the choice, but in a situation where both decide, okay, we're gonna try to have a kid, and then the mom backs out and the dad backs out, it's like, and her life is not even at risk, I say she should have the kid, give it to the dad if the dad wants wants to have the kid. But at that point, it becomes a decision of two. In situations where the dad is not involved, it's a decision of one. What happens in the bedroom between two people, it is their decision. They decided to have this kid.
I agree. I feel like it ultimately comes down to the woman. It's her decision. She has the very final say.
I think she has the very final word on it, but the dad also has a saying in it.
He definitely has a saying 100%, but at the end of the day, it's not up to him.
Yeah.
He could put his 2 cents, but hey, she has to get chopped.
It's like, yo, listen, this is what I want.
Right.
But the decision is yours.
Right. Exactly. Perfectly.
You're the one who's gonna be carrying my child for 9 months. Our child for 9 months. You're the one who's gonna go through, endure all this pain, and it ultimately is the woman. And I don't think the government has any business going into that.
And you know what? Yeah, I guess when you put it like that, it is up to the woman, but it's pretty messed up because let's say the man doesn't want the baby, but the
Mhm.
woman wants the baby. You're right. She does have the final say. She's like, I don't care if you don't want it. I'm having it.
Yes.
But now, what if the man wants it and the woman doesn't want it, and she
And
says, I don't care if you don't want it?
Tough luck, buddy.
Yeah,
And
that
Not
is
your decision.
that is
And that is-
that is messed up.
That is the hardest
That
part
is
for me.
messed up.
That is the hardest part for me because, like, I'm looking at the guy's side. He's like, yo, I'm so happy to have this kid.
Yeah,
And I feel like,
and then she abort. Like, that is messed up, bro.
Listen, I'm a big believer in everything happens for a reason. If that kid, let's say that girl does not want to have that kid and you really want that kid was not meant to be your kid. If she wanted to chop it up, that kid, it wasn't meant to be. Because I'm a strong believer in this. Everything happens for a reason. It is written.
if I was ever put in a situation where, like, like that, like the woman doesn't want to be a mother, she wants to opt out of and this is one of the questions that I have here. If women have the right, to abortion, that also means the right to opt out of motherhood. Because some women would not simply do it because their health is a risk, because the child is a risk. Maybe they're like, yo,
She's given legal leeway.
Now she's like,
to opt out.
yeah. So she's like, I'm not ready for this. Like maybe she's perfectly fine. Doctor says, even though we know what happened with the physicians and everything, but maybe she's like, yo, no, I don't want to have this kid. Like I don't feel comfortable.
Gotcha.
Now that's a matter of comfort. It's not a matter of she's safe, the baby's safe. If everything is good, and the dad is like, yo, have the baby. You're good. The baby's good. It's gonna be fine. And she doesn't want to have it.
And then she aborts it.
You're absolutely right.
And I feel like that this needs to be at the end of when the baby comes out, there needs to be a way for the baby to live a happy and meaningful life, because he has the right to happiness.
But you know what? Life ain't all sunshine and rainbows. There's gonna be messed up stuff in life that's gonna happen, and we have no control over. And I feel like with something like a kid, at the end of the day, if that girl don't want it, she's the one that gotta birth that kid.
Yeah, she's the one.
has final
You
say
can't
so,
put the
like-
because the burden of carrying a kid for 9 months is on her. You can't really force that burden on somebody.
And not even just the 9 months when the baby's
And then
born.
when
That's 18
when the
right
situation
there.
we're in right now is like the mother doesn't want to carry the burden right now or after, but the dad is willing to be like, yo, carry the burden for now and I'll carry it after for you.
I like that point. I never heard that point. Like, if she has the right to abortion, she has the right to opt out.
But
That's
what about the
interesting
dad?
Yeah,
Also,
that's
now,
one of the
now
questions
let's look
that's
at the
posed
dad.
here.
If the mom has the right, now let's look at the other side.
Should dads have the option to opt out of fatherhood in the same way that women have the option to opt out of motherhood?
If you're going by that logic, that women have the option to opt out of motherhood, if we're being fair, yes, the father should, but life isn't fair.
But yeah, there's a double standard there, and the double standard is, the woman aborts the baby, and then she's so brave or whatever the world has to say about it. But then the father decides not to be there for the kid. We all know the saying. He's a deadbeat. He's a deadbeat.
It's fucked up.
So there is a double standard.
Like you can't
definitely.
respect the fact that the man opted out of fatherhood, but the world will somehow respect the fact that a woman will opt out of motherhood. And the means by which she does that is, let's be honest, it's murder.
It is the quickest way.
If we're being completely honest, though, like deep down, we're not gonna respect the mother who does that either. At least I'm not. I can't speak for y'all. I can't do that. I can't respect the parent who steps out the
I will
child's life.
respect it under the circumstances.
Under the circumstances
the
we
previous
discussed,
circumstances,
Which
rape,
which was rape, incest,
Oh, yeah.
things
That's
like that.
different. That's
I'll
different.
understand
That's
it.
different.
But now, if she's out and about having casual sex with a whole bunch of strangers, I cannot respect that at all, bro. Because you know what?
But it's not okay. So it's not even a matter of respect. It's a matter of rights. You might not respect it. I get it, but it's a matter of rights.
But do I have a right?
Of
Look, like I said, whether or not the baby comes out is up to her. Fuck what I say.
yes,
But now, once the baby's out, if I don't want to be there, I don't have no right.
that's true.
I have to, legally speaking, they gonna rape my pockets, bro. I can't just say I don't want to be a dad.
Hold on, because this rights thing is a deep rabbit hole.
It is.
What is the definition of rights we're using right now? Rights based on what? Legality, morality, rights on what?
But let's talk about legality. All right, we could dip a little bit about morality, because what you feel sometimes is not that important. Let's talk about the legality, because this is what we're facing right now. But in a morality sense, like I feel like if the woman is able to like opt out of motherhood, the guy should be able to opt out of fatherhood.
Absolutely.
And because some guys are like, some women decide to just have the like say they were having sex and it just happened. The woman's like, oh no, I'm not keep the kid, and the father's like, no, I don't want the kid. He's trying to opt out of fatherhood. He's not ready for it, but she
can't,
is.
though.
But you know what?
Guys are not allowed to do that. if she says, okay, I have this kid, and and the dad just walked away. She's like, no, I walked away because I didn't want to be a father and I didn't want this kid.
No.
And I feel like he should be able to opt out of fatherhood. And this is like, this is kind of wrong to talk about in a way, because we're talking about women, and then we're like, guys, what about us? We're like shifting the
Bro, keep it a
the
stack. The
perspective.
world we live in today, the agenda is to put men on the bottom. Real talk. It's to put us at the very bottom, to make us bitches. That's the agenda.
I want to touch back on that. On the fathers having the rights to step out. See, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. You're very much well in your own rights. If you don't want to raise this kid, go do your thing. You can do that.
Why shouldn't you though?
Well, now this is the morality aspect of it. Should a man really step out on his bloodline? Like,
should a man be able to walk out on his child's life? Yes, but should he?
Yeah, that's
the morality of it. Should he?
The morality of it all.
And that just comes to the individual parent.
Like, you're right, exactly. Like, this is a problem with the society we live in today. The government tries to rule us like one size fits all. We are all completely different individuals, and we want to live our lives a certain way.
Yeah.
And that is just not going to work out over the long term. And that's why we're having the problems we're having today.
All right. I want to move on to, how does abortion impact society? In a more, if it's the right word, technical level. How does giving women the right impact a society as a whole? And I'm talking numbers. If women have the right to abortion, we could have low birth rates. We are. Let's look at I asked you if you read the book 1984, because that's looking at the extreme side of things. It's a dystopian society, and looking at the extreme side of things, where like women were forced to have babies, because what makes a country, what makes a society is people. At the end of the day, if you want to rule over someone, you need someone to rule over. So it is not, if you're looking at the government, if you're putting blame on the government, put it this way. The government needs as much people as possible to become strong as a nation. Look at China. Why they're powerful? Numbers. They outnumber everybody.
You think abortion is legal in China?
Bro,
So they have a thing with the...
Oh,
with
yeah,
the
the
boys
system.
Yes,
system.
okay.
I think 2 girls, 3 boys.
So they have...
one, but they overturned it.
So, it became a matter of, is it right for the nation to give right women? Because if women have the right, we have low birth rates. And they'll be scared of becoming a weak nation. And that's also another issue. And most people don't even think about that. Sometimes you're so worried about what's happening in front of you, you forget that what's going on around you and the bigger picture.
You're absolutely right. See, this is a lot deeper than just...
It's a lot of... this is surface level stuff, but this is things to get you thinking further into why the situation is
now
happening.
You start looking deeper into
this
the future.
This is the interviews for a reason.
Yeah.
We're going to try to get deep into it, but unfortunately, there's not enough time to cover everything. Your TikTok is probably flooded with things about abortion.
Yo, that shit is annoying.
Your
I'm not
Instagram
gonna
is
front.
probably
Every
flooded.
time I go on Instagram, bro, it's all these girls talking about abortion. I told this one girl, I said, you know what? I get it. You're upset. I totally understand.
You have your right to be upset.
But you know what? Do something about it. Because you complaining about it's not doing shit. You being behind your phone, it's not doing nothing. Go to the street and do something of that sort. But like...
To their defense, they could post what they want. You don't want to see their shit.
To their defense, right. But like... Also,
I deleted Instagram. I said I'll be back in a week.
I'll be back when the news and whatever. But listen, I heard this debate on TikTok. The government has, is trying to get people not to abort, because the minority is becoming the majority, and they're scared for voters, for the minority to become the majority.
So basically, blacks, Hispanics, Asians are becoming the majority.
Yes, and if you give, if you don't give them a choice, in majority in like numbers, but like you need the minority. It's every country needs this minority, the working class, and that's what the minority is in this country.
Yeah.
But they're scared if you give minorities the opportunity to not have kids, they'll have more, like they'll have more stuff to worry about.
That's why they put Planned Parenthoods in the hood, because they trying to kill black people. They trying to kill us. They don't fuck with us. Nah, real talk, look it up. It was a woman who was a eugenist, and she was a racist, and she said the white race, basically people that like fuck with like the human anatomy and shit like that, and they'll like you basically create humans and you alter. Yes. So look it up. Person that made Planned Parenthood, she was a racist. She thought that blacks and inferior. She said white people are the superior race. So why do you think Planned Parenthoods are in the hood? Bro, I live like 2 blocks away from a Planned Parenthood.
Yeah, me too.
Literally.
Yeah, you do.
It all makes sense. If you really think about what you guys are saying right now about the minorities becoming the majority, it all makes sense why all these problems are not happening.
Yeah.
Because look at how this country was built. Look at the foundation of this country. The founding fathers, this country, the people who made all this, they're considered the elites.
Yeah.
The elites want a certain agenda. They believe, their race and whatnot, but they ultimately want control. And the people they had control over back then was the slaves.
Take for example how the African Americans became free because their numbers outmatched white people.
Yeah.
That was, put it in simple terms, they did. And looking at the 1960s, we're still looking like African Americans try to feed themselves from white people, but the reason they lost slaves was because African American people beat them by the numbers.
Right, but that's my point.
And now we're back to the same thing. Let's look into racist America for a second. We're back to the same thing, where Caucasian people are scared of becoming the minority again.
The white
and
man is losing.
And the only means to control that, it is not through being racist because it's no longer acceptable, but it's through the legal and the rights and and religion again, but rebranded.
He's right. Because, listen, for the people who are in control, to stay in control, they have to be the majority. If they're now becoming the minority, how are they going to enforce the laws that keep them the majority?
And that's crazy because I could really imagine, just like we're here at a table, just a whole bunch of old white people. They're like, damn, look at these numbers. They're like, hey, Bob, look at these numbers.
We got
to cook
because remember, these
bro.
are just people.
Yeah.
Don't look at the government as like.
And for the people who watching probably think we're trying to be on some racist shit. It's not even that. It's like if you look at stuff objectively, look at history, look at what's going on.
Yeah.
You can see what is happening.
Like I love my white friends, but I'm not talking about you, Dawson. You're broke. Like this is not about you. I'm talking about the old.
He's talking about your granddad.
I'm talking about that uncle that you don't know about.
We're talking about those people that stayed in power.
Yeah.
But outside of the table making the decisions.
Yeah, like the people you never see, bro.
Yes.
They never pop out the crib. That's crazy.
The people who really run the country.
Yeah.
So that's another way of looking at abortion.
We touched the point. If women have the right to abort, should men have the right to opt out of fatherhood? When is abortion required? We touched on that. When the baby's going to come out cooked, and I agree. How does abortion impact society? We talked about that. Numbers game. Dystopian society. Oh, that's why you mentioned 1984.
Yes.
You can be pro-life and pro-abortion.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. That's me. You just described.
Yeah.
I agree.
You don't have to be pro-life, and that needs to change. I feel like the pro-life movement, it's fucked up how they rebranded it. But I'm pro-life in the sense I'm pro baby being born. I'm pro, living life and fulfilling your dreams and everything. And I am anti-abort.
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. Coming in here, I had in mind just saying, my mentality was I am anti-abortion all the way. Like it's under no circumstances. After reading these facts, after having this conversation, I kind of do realize that you're right. In some situations, like it's not as black and white. There are certain exceptions that ought to be made, and they're tough decisions. But I get it. I get it. So although I'm not all the way for it, I still do believe that under the right circumstances.
Yeah,
right,
most things in life
heavy
are
on
like
the
that.
right circumstances.
So,
and then last point, religion groups push their beliefs of anti-abortion by creating pro-life movements since they can't legally directly push their. All right, here's the thing about religion, right? Because you're right. In Christianity, Catholicism, like life is sacred.
yeah.
I'm sure you can agree with me.
Well, life is. I agree with that.
It's something good. It's God-given, okay? And let's be honest. A baby that is in the womb of a woman, that is a life. That's alive.
It's a potential life.
I make this argument all the time. If a man were to come into a bank and then he shoots a pregnant woman, the pregnant woman lives, but the baby dies.
It's murder.
He's charged for murder, the loss of a life. And then I've had people tell me that there's hypocrisy. Because if in the eyes of the law that is considered murder, Why do we not consider it the same thing here?
Because, like you said, it's not all black and white. It depends on the situation.
It's murder.
It is, but it depends on the situation whether it's right or wrong.
Okay,
you-
yes,
like-
I agree.
like
but
we all agree.
but objectively speaking, it is murder. It's
Yeah,
killing.
you're right.
It
You're
is
absolutely
murder.
right.
There's no fact about it. It
And
is.
nobody wants to put that term on it. But like, I think the best way to
Because
really
if you
make
put murder on it, then
It
you
sounds
don't open
bad.
your mentality up to the situation.
but bro,
No,
hold
I
on.
disagree.
No,
it just sounds bad. People like shit PG-13.
Look,
It's
people
not
don't like- look,
Here's
PG-13.
my
let's be real.
hold on. Here's my thing. Unless you can start being honest about it, we all want progress, right?
Yes.
That's what the left is pushing for. You want progress, start talking about it for what it is.
But guess what? The people who control all the propaganda they don't want progress. They don't. They want to keep shit how it's been. Where
So
they
the liberals are pushing for progress, but they're not really trying to.
Progress.
What I'm saying is the people who are in control, they don't want that type of progress because that gives us more power. If we have more power, they have less control. Therefore, their agendas cannot be.
But now
pushed.
I'm saying, what I'm suggesting is this. If you want to make progress, fuck those other guys. Fuck
Okay.
the narrative. If you really want to make progress, start talking
I
about it
think-
for what it is.
I know what you're
Right.
saying.
You're
I'm
No
saying
matter how ugly it is.
keep it real. You're saying keep it real. All right,
real.
let's-
You're murdering
You're-
a
you're
baby.
absolutely
keeping
right.
it real, you are murdering a potential life.
I'm
You're
just
murdering
saying-
a life. That is life in the because
I
like
mean,
I said,
potential life because it
the
could-
law will not tell you, it was a potential life. So instead of 25 years, you'll get two. No. They say you murdered a life in the eyes of the law.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? If the law said that, you would agree with that. So let's talk about it for what it is. A lot of people, I get why people don't like to say it like that because it sounds nasty and it makes people feel some type of way. But yo, you gotta take that shit on, bro. That's the
You're
only
right.
way you gonna move forward.
You're absolutely right. I agree with what
You
you're
know,
saying.
I agree for the most part. I'm a good 95%
Well,
there.
what I was saying earlier.
What about
is
that
just-
5%?
It's that potential life because you don't know. Like I said, he might not be born. Like
He might be stillborn.
yes.
I see.
So that's what I'm saying. For me, I try to choose my
still
words
potential.
careful.
It's
It's
still
the potential for life.
Because if it comes out stillborn, then it was.
Yes.
Yeah. And what were you saying?
No, I was just saying earlier when I was talking about that agenda bullshit. I was just saying why people don't like the truth speaking. You know what I'm saying? Why they like to censor shit and whatnot because they want to push the message they want to push. Because
Yeah, certain information when you push in your agenda, you can dismiss some information to just push your agenda. Because let me tell you something. You came in here walking. All right, I'm gonna call you ignorant for a second.
Okay.
Don't take it the hard way.
Yeah.
But it's because the way I learned the word ignorant is you can be smart, but you can still be ignorant. Because ignorant doesn't refer to you as a whole. It's ignorant.
He's calling me an ignorant.
But ignorant
Yeah.
does not refer to you as a person. It
Uh.
refers to you as a subject. You're ignorant in this subject, and you're not ignorant as a person.
Mm.
So you came in here ignorant in
Of the
certain
subject.
of the subject matter. That's what I try to do informative. Where I give you information,
I
facts.
appreciate
I didn't
that.
come up with this information. I was provided with me by the Organization of American Historians. Now, if they're lying, then that means I'm lying. But I'm getting that information from there.
But you know what? This is why I always preach when we speak. When I say always keep an open mind for everything. This is
So-
exactly why.
So the thing is, a lot of the people in this world, they're anti or pro-abortion, but
they're
they
like
haven't.
just choosing one side.
But they haven't read the history and how we got to be. And that's like when every stuff like this happens, it's like, how do we get here? How do we get to this point? Because I don't know how we got to this point. I'm 19. I haven't even lived through the whole history of this. There's some people that have. But that's what I'm saying. So you have to be open to learning the history, what's happened, why we're here.
And that's
then
what's
you can
wrong
move
with a lot of
forward into deciding where we're going.
That's what's wrong with a lot of us. We try to debate stuff and talk about stuff we don't even know what we're talking about.
Yeah, I think I was reading a book that you gave me. I forgot the name of it.
The Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
It might have been that one. The most people look to side with things.
You're right.
When you're on social media, you're looking for oh, I agree with this. I disagree with this. When you could just move forward in life and look for more information, you don't have to agree. You could be in the middle.
But you know what?
There is a middle ground.
It takes a lot of courage to do that because you're gonna receive backlash from those people and those people. Most people want to fit in.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Like I said, I told Jason, we're gonna get a lot of hate from this podcast.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Yo,
And
the
this
I already
is-
mentally
real
prepared
ones
myself.
gonna stick with y'all. Y'all don't want the ones
Yeah.
who leave anyway.
So it's like I don't care if you disagree with my opinion. We can still be cool. We're friends. We're gonna get a lot of hate for doing stuff like this, and that's just a matter of talking and being open. And that's also the freedom of speech protects me. Okay, if you have anything against me, freedom of speech protects me. As long as that constitutional right is not stripped away from me, I'm protected.
Yeah.
But that is the freedom of speech. Whether you hate it, like it, or love it.
Can't
hate it or
please
love it.
everybody. Cannot please everybody.
But yeah.
People disagree and agree.
All right, I'm about to
That's how
say
it is.
something. A lot of this wouldn't be a problem if people just stopped fornicating.
What?
Define fornication.
Fornicating, sex before marriage. If a lot of people just said, I'm going to wait to have sex until marriage, this abortion thing would not be as big as it is.
You're right. If that was the case, you're right. But
I
that
think
is not the case.
we're still throwing it like in the pothole of religion.
Nah, I'm just no.
Wait till marriage.
Religion aside, this is just morals. Yeah,
He's just giving us
Morals.
Morally speaking, like if
Because what if I never want to get married?
Yeah.
That means I'll never have
Like
sex.
me, for example, I don't want to get legally married.
Or I don't want to.
I can't fuck now.
I don't want to get legal. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That you're throwing it into power religion because marriage is actually a lot more rooted into religion than nowadays. It's more like
it's
know
a good
money.
point.
See,
I see what you're saying.
listen.
What if you don't want to get married?
Listen,
Yeah.
this is the true problem.
We know what God wants.
Yeah.
But, now we are like, what do I want?
But now, what if I don't want what God wants?
You're saying now
Basically.
you're throwing in a power of religion. That's a more touchy subject.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm
I mean,
trying to say.
a lot of this whole thing, like it ties in there. It's in
It
there.
does. It does.
So like it's worth mentioning. We can't ignore it.
The people that are going anti-abortion is a lot of religious groups. Because I was looking, I'm like, yo, we have this argument about religion. What are the sides? Like, I know the sides are women who want to be able to like control their bodies, but I'm like, why are we looking at the government? I'm like, who is the other side? Because I know the other side isn't the government. Somebody out there is pushing the government to do these things.
Yeah.
And whether it's for or against you, someone's always pushing the government.
Yeah.
Whoever finds the politicians, whoever there's always another side. And people like one of the things I've learned when I was working in like food service industry is like whenever there's a problem, direct that attention to an outside source that has nothing to do with you. So if I can't give you your soda, direct it to the company, not bring in the machine or the
Wait, say that one more
like
time.
whenever in a situation,
Whenever something goes wrong,
point the blame, send the blame away from you
and then put it. You mentioned this.
Put
and
the
then
blame.
I think it was you.
Yeah.
Blame. No, you said blame it on an outside circumstance. You said this.
Yes.
Blame it on an outside circumstance.
That's nothing
that
to do with your
nothing
country.
to do with you, and it's just like oh, I came late because of the rain.
So who are we blaming right now? We're blaming the government. But now look deeper. Who is
The government.
Who is pushing the government to do these?
Okay, so then it goes back to who do you put in office?
Yeah.
So it's on us.
It's the religious groups and these people that want to push their agenda. Who's pushing the agenda? Because remember, the politicians are for the majority of the part, the politicians, the people in power, are put in position because of what we believe, or what we want to our own self-interest. So who put those politicians and people in power that benefits their interest? Now look at them and attack their beliefs.
Listen to this though. The people we vote are simply choices they give us. At the end of the day, they're just giving us the illusion that we're
Also, yeah, because they choose, not us. Like we choose them to choose for us, but at the end of the day, it's their choice.
Exactly, bro. They gave us Bernie and Trump. Who said we want to choose between these two? They said you guys have these two options. Pick one, and we said okay.
Is that choice?
I wanted Kanye. Kanye was a good choice.
Yeah,
He put himself in there.
They don't want
I'm just saying, sometimes you are given the illusion of choice, like you said. If you give people two choices, that's not really a choice.
If y'all want to read more about it, it's in the 40 Laws of Power.
Oh yeah,
The laws of choice. I mean, that is interesting though. The illusion of choice. I mean, you do have a choice, but now I didn't choose these options.
Yes.
But like,
like for example, my business. I'm gonna show you two different things. I'm giving you the choice, but in reality, I just told you what you could pick from. Did you really choose?
Do you want chocolate or do you want like mint?
you didn't choose your options, but you're given
the choice between the options I give you.
Yeah.
But
Is there anything wrong with that though?
It depends how you look at it.
I don't think so.
Listen, it depends on how you look at it. Because if you're looking at it from the perspective of I want full control, then yes, it's wrong because you're being deceived. Now, if you don't care about having full control and you just want to say so,
let's keep it a stack.
I don't
Most people don't care unless you know what you want. Unless you really know what you want. Like, if somebody says, "I don't want that. I don't want this. I want you to find me this," and then that's on you. And he has a choice. He's trying to make his own way, and I'm not against that. But like for the average person, you don't want
the best two choices.
You don't want to be flooded by a whole bunch of options. You just want the best and the easiest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's go back to abortion. Any more topics? I ran out of information to give you. Any opinions you want to just put out there?
Listen, I don't like it. This is crazy. We live in a crazy world. It's ugly.
Hold on, you don't like what exactly?
Abortions
themselves?
I don't like the fact that like we're even at this point.
So how should it be in your eyes?
In your eyes, what is the solution to this? Yeah, let's offer if we got a solution.
Okay.
We're not about opinionating. We're about offering potential solutions. So let me give your potential solution.
Give your solution and your opinion, because I want to know your opinion.
All right. If it were up to me,
What's the solution?
I've thought about this. It's kind of all over the place, but I had this one thought where it was like, okay, you're not just gonna get abortions willy nilly. Like, you're not gonna be smoking 20 babies in your womb, and like, no. You can give them up to 3 abortions. Up to 3. Anything after 3, there are consequences.
You're just playing with power.
Anything after 3, there are consequences. Because again, objectively speaking, there is a murder of life / potential life. So anything after 3, right? Not 1, because I get it, things happen. 2, like, fool me once, fool me twice. 3rd time, give them up to 3 abortions. Anything after that, you gotta face some type of consequence. Because what is happening in your life that, you know,
it's requiring you to murder.
And then at that point, a lot of people will say, "Oh, but it's what I wanted." Now it goes into the morality thing.
Yeah.
Either wrap it, if you want to continue having sex and all that, either wrap it up, do something else. Even the men, because I hear a lot of women say, "Oh, but you're telling us how to control our bodies and this and that." Like, listen, everybody's told what the fuck to do. We were told to get vaccines, even if we didn't want to. It was our body, yeah, I know. When we were born, we got a whole bunch of vaccines that we didn't ask for. Well,
our parents were in control of that.
No, because if you're born
Actually,
in a hospital,
the government was.
If you're born in a hospital in the U.S., you automatically get like 5 vaccines.
Yeah.
But like what, you know, so it's like you're gonna have to take shit from. It's just that's just what it is. Like.
Because what I was gonna say, like, to branch off your point, I feel like that's a very fair middle ground solution.
Yeah.
You're giving those against the leeway to still do it, but you're still compromising a bit for those who are, you know, what I'm saying, on the other side. Of this, I feel like that's a great.
And
way.
then if you don't want to face no consequences, then just be smart about the way you're conducting yourself in the bedroom.
And for the people,
I feel like the consequence though has to be. It can't be just slapping the wrist after the 3rd time.
Nah, it gotta be something like that'll really deter.
Impactful.
Yeah. Wait, what do y'all think about that? Do you like that idea?
Yeah. I like that idea.
I just told you, yeah. Like,
oh, okay.
What I really like about it, like, for the people who are, you know, who feel like they should be able to get abortions, like, you also have to understand, like, you're living under the rules of the society.
Yeah.
So, like,
and the society is built on
yeah.
Christian theology.
Now, we're just speaking about this, like, this particular point where they have those 3 options. It's either you get those 3 options, after that is no more. This is our rules, and that's fair. That's fair.
I feel like that is a middle ground. I was gonna say.
Who do I talk to?
Joe.
Bro.
You just dissed him. Yeah, now you gotta see him.
Now you gotta see him. You know, an idea is just an idea until you bring it to.
That's a fact.
To fruition.
Yo, just like before you cancel me, if you haven't canceled me already, repost what I just said. Like, as much as you're posting all this complaining, repost what I just said and let it reach the Supreme Court.
We're gonna
let it reach the Supreme Court.
Because I feel like the Supreme Court rarely allows for black and white, for middle grounds, like room for interpretation, where like that's when revisions come in.
Wait.
What I'm saying, like the Supreme Court is ever allows room for like interpretation. It's always like strict by the book. So, and that's where like you know, adjustments to certain laws come in, where like the Constitution wasn't 100% right. That's where we added the Bill of Rights, and the laws the Supreme Court makes are not always correct. That's where we had to have adjustments and keep adding to it. So let's just say, I think this is my middle ground. Let's make abortion just straight up, all federally legal. To an extent, like Jason said, 3 abortions. After the 3rd abortion, they start penalizing women and potentially man, because it's a two-way street.
What is it? What do you mean potentially man?
I mean, it takes 2 to make 1.
Wait.
Why would I get punished if she had an abortion?
Repeat that one more time.
Because what if like I'm saying, like I said, like 3. But what if it's like the woman's having these abortions with the 3 abortions with the same man? So there needs to be for both. You know, we're not just penalizing women, we're penalizing men.
Bro, why is she letting him hit Roe?
All right.
Cause now it's your body, your choice, right? So now, all right. So now it's your body, your choice. And when it comes to abortion, it's all on me. It's all me. But now that there are consequences involved, wait a minute. The guy has to take this responsibility.
But I mean, we're talking about moving forward. We're like, now it's like that. Woman's her body, her choice. But moving forward, there has to be consequences.
She should take that consequence full on, because if you want that full on responsibility to get that abortion,
now you sound like a petty kid, because now you sound like someone that's pitiful. Like
no,
you sound petty now.
This is talking about responsibility. Just like if you have full responsibility over anything, it's all on you.
Oh, fine. So you're saying
so now,
give them
and what I'm saying is this: a lot of women say, "My body, my choice." You're saying this is all up to me. If it's all up to you, if it's all your responsibility and all your choice, then you should also have to bear the same consequences.
My question is, what do you want? You want the woman to have full responsibility, or you want the man to be involved in the life too, in that choice? Because if the man has the right to be involved in that choice, then he also.
But we already talked about this earlier. It don't matter what the man says. If the man wants it and she doesn't want it, well, sucks to be the man.
All right. Fine. So we're saying.
Hold on.
The man has to have a choice, like a saying at least.
He could have a say, but she doesn't have to listen to that.
She doesn't have to listen, but as a man, you have to understand there's consequences for your decisions. Let's say, for example, that is the case. The law says the man will be held accountable too. As a man, you don't. Why are you bitching? You don't want those consequences? Strap up. That's it.
That's what I'm saying. There needs to be a consequence for the men that are also impregnating these women.
Like, you have to hold yourself accountable too.
I do sound like a petty kid.
It's like sometimes it's hard to hear it, but like in reality, like it does take two to make one.
I do see your point, because it's like.
Because now
think about it. What if a man is just going out and about, just like hitting these chicks raw, and then he just caused 9 abortions to happen?
Yeah, because what if the woman didn't know?
Yeah, because now the man not going. Yeah, I agree.
So
I changed my mind. I changed my mind, people. All right, when it comes, different perspectives can help and open my mind.
You're allowed to change opinions.
Don't cancel me.
There is nothing wrong with changing your mind.
Yeah,
there's absolutely nothing wrong.
So now the West End, same thing.
Yeah.
The woman's choice. The guy should have a say in the abortion, but if after 3 abortions, they should be, penalized, both the woman and the man.
You know what they could do, and this will be tricky if, what if at the abortion you write down who is the father?
Yeah.
But now that's tricky though, because what if somebody lies?
No, you can't do that. For that reason.
So how would you? What I'm saying is, how would you be able to keep a man accountable?
I mean, they do have DNA. They do have DNA testing before the baby is born.
Yeah, I'm sure they have.
So like, let's say they aborted the baby and then they get the DNA from it.
Even before he's born.
Okay, so they get the DNA from the baby.
It does take a certain amount of time for the.
And then they call in the man that's supposedly suspected. If the DNA matches, it's like, okay, you as a man, you just caused 1 abortion to happen. You got 2 more strikes.
And you will. There should be consequences.
Listen though. It doesn't matter with anything. If you want authority, you need responsibility. If you want to say so in that kid's life, you also have to take responsibility for the other side. You know what I'm saying? The consequences that come with taking it. There's no authority without responsibility.
Well, we just made America better. One podcast at a time.
One podcast. No, but I think that is a fair middle ground. Like we said, we are interviews. We're here to offer the facts, offer opinions.
Please don't cancel me.
Potential solutions. Some might hate us, some might love us. But anything else you want to say?
That's all I got so far.
What about you, Cody?
On this topic, I didn't even give my solution.
You want to give?
See, he was right. I was going to talk for I talked for 8 minutes.
All right, yeah.
So, I'm gonna give y'all 2 answers. What I think should happen and what I think is the best possible solution. I think the best possible solution is like a middle ground, like y'all said, because that's fair. We're giving you leniency with having a couple, but you're not about to drag it either. We're not about to play that. Now, what I think should happen, at the end of the day, listen, her body, she do what she wants. She want to go to Chop Shop 27 times, let her go 28.
That's just you.
That's just
me.
But
then you're saying in order to resolve this, how it should be and what you would want it to be.
the best solution to lead this group of people we call
the
United
middle ground.
States of America, it would be the middle ground, like y'all said.
Yo, they need to put us in office.
Yeah,
Dead
they
ass.
need to.
Like them old ass people, bro. Come on.
And there's also one of the debates.
Carlos for president.
Nah, I'm not legally allowed to. But
Vote me for senator.
but
I'll be a president. I'll put you in office.
Alright,
You gonna be my right?
thanks.
Yeah. You gonna
So-
be that too.
Let's call it a day.
Yeah.
I'm Carlos Production. This has been Interviews, bring you insight in today's world. We have
Jason.
Jay Bustillo, and
Cody Visions.
I thank you everybody for watching Interviews. If you have any questions you want to ask us, anything you want us to discuss, comment section, my DMs, his DMs, Interviews DMs, our emails. Thank you so much. Till the next episode.
Please don't cancel us.
Please don't cancel Jason. He's very scared of that.